she never did anything. I was one of the things, I'm like, well, okay. They said, well, they had a career, you know, I said, sure, I'll go.
Wants you to grow from this experience. Seems like a terrible idea.
She was taking a trip. Good job.
That's what Jeff spoke about too, after the show. He broke up with her and that.
That's what it is.
And so there she was engaged.
Takes off when it's at 40.
Broke up with her because she wanted to get married right after the birth. He was like,
Just
6 years.
There we go.
We'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Mrs. Powers? Yes. Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Christopher? Yes. Dr. Marion?
Yes.
Mr. Bird?
Yes.
Mr. Gaff? Please note Mr. Bird is absent. And that is excused. All right, I need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Mr. Holmes, second. Mr. Christopher, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next we have comments from the public. Before we begin, please remember this is a board meeting rather than a public forum. The primary purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the board in a timely manner. As such, please keep the following in mind when presenting comments to the board. Individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes and to 1 appearance per person. Also, the board president may limit comments of a repetitive nature on the same topic. Generally, comments or questions directed to the board will not be answered during the meeting. Finally, the Board of Education would like to remind speakers they're responsible for any potential defamatory comments made during the public comment portion of the meeting. With that being said, our speaker tonight is Ernie Dinoff.
Thank you very much. Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, City and County Public Advocate. The first issue I'd like to get into, and I also like to make a request for this person's contract, but the superintendent that is taking over July 1st. I really believe that when we hire a superintendent, that superintendent needs to be part of the makeup and part of the community. That person, either he or she, needs to live within our neighborhoods, live within the borders of our school district. I think it's very important that they're involved in community organizations and the makeup and the education of our various communities. With being paid over a $200,000 salary, which I'm not sure what contract that you approved and entered into with the incoming superintendent, he currently lives on the Lincoln-Pike County line. And I really think that that person needs to look at seeking housing inside our confines of our school district to be part of our community. It's well outside the bounds of St. Charles County and well outside the bounds of the community to be active on a afternoon and evening basis, and definitely on the weekends. Under Chapter 610.021 and 610.022, the revised state statutes of Missouri, I am asking verbally, which is allowable under Chapter 610, is allowable under Attorney General's guidelines and Attorney General opinions. And there's a lot of case law out there, and you can check with your attorneys if you'd like. I don't have to make it in writing. I'm making it here in person to all 6 members who are present at the Board of Education and the superintendent and the custodian of public records under 610.020. to see the full contract of Mr. St. Pierre in terms of what you're paying for him for his salary, his benefits, his auto allowance, any additional bonuses, annuities, any additional pension or savings account, any 401k additional to his PRSR state pension through the teacher pension system. The state legislative session with the General Assembly ended up in turmoil, as you all know, last week, with the Senate adjourning last Wednesday over Proposition Amendment 3, which we voted upon in November, and also Proposition A, which is taking away sick leave for the minimum requirement that was also passed by voters in November. And they were on a revote on Amendment number 3. There's a lot of issues. At stake is a $50 million school choice bill, which I would encourage every one of the board members to contact Governor Kehoe to reject and veto that bill. I don't think it's ready for prime time. It could hurt us financially. Safe Schools Act, there's new reporting requirements, first aid training requirements, AED requirements, CPR, and adult schools, and I'll try to come up with more information next month. Thank you.
All right, next we have the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve, please. Mr. Howell, second. Mr. Pratt, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, financial reports.
All right, good evening. Thanks for having me. The financial report through April was presented. Our numbers continue to look on pace with what we budgeted for the most part. There are some spring adjustments. We'll get to it in a little bit. I think the big news finance-wise, which is more about future years, so we don't have to get too much into it today, is that the current budget passed by the state does have the fully funded formula. It was, I'm sure you heard me a few months ago worried about it when it wasn't. So the good news is it was passed. For financially, the other good news is our property taxes have continued to come in higher than historical averages, which is great. We're probably going to finish about 1.3 million higher in property taxes than we would have. Again, you'll see in the spring budget, we also have some expenditure categories that are running over as well. They're categories that we can't really control. It's just when they happen, we have to pay for it, like contracted transportation and private placement's a big part of our changes. And then you can see that on the expense side. Essentially, our purchase services are running a lot faster than, say, our supplies or salaries, and that's really just those couple of categories. And we're doing well to budget next year, so we're not going to have to ask for an adjustment. We're going in saying, hey, it's a rapidly growing expense. Let's budget for it growing again. So, any questions?
Is there any questions? I need a motion to approve the financial reports as presented. Mr. Howell, second. Mr. Christopher, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Dr. Myers, old business.
Okay, thank you. Apologize in advance for my voice here a little bit. One item under facility planning is MG Elementary asphalt bid recommendation. Toby's just going to walk us through a pretty simple project there. So Toby, all yours.
Madam President, members of the board, my first recommendation is for MG. We've been visiting that site quite a lot in the last couple of weeks, and we've discovered that it has a substrate problem, which is going to need to be addressed at some point in the future. But that runs probably $250,000 to replace everything. So we're recommending that we go back with fiber enforced sealer, and then we'll do a seal and stripe, and then we'll address the ADA parking issues as well while we're there. It's our recommendation that we do this this summer, and the price is $19,171, which is considerably cheaper. This will give us the Band-Aid we need to maybe extend it 2 or 3 years before we have to do the big job.
You said 2 or 3 years?
Yes, but that's our hope. If it's done right, it should last 2 or 3 years.
What's the price point if we make the fix now that's to come in 2 or 3 years? What have, you know what I mean? Like what I guess what's the savings factor right now versus just getting done whenever we need to get done in 2 or 3 years?
Well, I guess it's the upfront $250,000 in that range, give or take, and this is $19,000. So I would suggest maybe putting things ahead of this if we have to. This is something we can Band-Aid right now.
No long-term planning.
Yeah, and this is part of bond improvement anyway. So MG is one of the buildings that was slated in the bond for parking lot upgrades. So this is just a short fix for the longer term. So.
And I was genuinely asking. I wasn't trying to be condescending. I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want you to think I was trying to be a jerk.
I need a motion to approve the asphalt bid as recommended.
Motion.
Mr. Pratt, second. Dr. Marion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. On to new business.
Okay, thank you. First item under new business is the grades 8 to 12 social studies curriculum. And Jen, I'm going to do the majority of the intros and talking, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Turn it over to you.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Myers. We have Stephanie Durant here this evening. She's our 612 Social Studies Curriculum Coordinator. The teachers wrote this year are what we call our core courses, so from 8th through 12th grade, plus some AP coursework, which really that curriculum is provided for us. And Stephanie's gonna walk you through that process this evening.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to share with you the work that's been done by some of our amazing social studies teachers at the secondary level. A couple of them are here tonight to work on 10 of our secondary courses. I do want to give all of those writing teams their moment to shine. One of the courses we worked on is our 8th grade U.S. History 1 course, which is U.S. History through Reconstruction. At the 8th grade level, and then at our high school, our 4 or 3 core courses with an accelerated option, U.S. History 2, which covers Reconstruction moving towards present day. Students can do that, or accelerated U.S. History 2. At the 10th grade level, they can take World History or AP World History. That's the other option to satisfy the credit. And then at 11th grade, U.S. Government or AP Government, so they have those different options. And speaking of those AP courses, these are our AP writers. Like Jen said, they did not write an actual curriculum because College Board does that for us because it is a national curriculum and test. So those teachers actually just came together and created some shared documents of resources and assessments to use district-wide to strengthen the program. And they also came together to review the textbooks that are approved by College Board to recommend tonight. So when I was here just last May, looking at the other secondary social studies courses, I presented the program goals that were created by the teachers. And I just wanted to revisit those really quickly. Those 3 major goals for us are to inspire students to continue to learn after they leave kind of the formal education of Fort Zumwalt. That they continue to be curious and ask questions and also know how to find the answers to those questions. The second goal is really to empower them with the knowledge to be effective citizens, whether that's the local community or the bigger, the entire world. And lastly, to help them build skills that are going to make them successful no matter what they choose to do. Then those are skills like communicating and collaborating with others, as well as our social studies specific, like critical thinking skills. Our process looks really similar to everybody else, right? All the contents kind of follow the same process. So we've been working for a little bit over a year. 2 things to highlight for social studies specifically is during those times that our writing teams were together, our writers went through some like micro PD that I provided around things like best practices in social studies, what inquiry looks like, what good assessment looks like in social studies, as well as how to kind of get through our standards and understand them. And then that was used to kind of build a really strong curriculum. As well as all of our teachers, not just those on the writing teams, were invited to participate in pilots so that they could try out all of the resources that we were considering adopting so that we could pick the best one. All right, when it comes to all of the curriculum guide stuff that you guys have seen the descriptions and the rationales, the list of standards, which really the bulk of the work that the writers do is taking those standards and making sense of them, putting them into units of study that will make sense for students. But some of the pieces that I want to highlight for you for social studies specifically are the resources that we made for teachers and really working to make sure that the courses are relevant for students and engaging. One of those pieces is we've created ways for teachers to make some of that history and content local. So if I'm a U.S. history teacher and I'm teaching the American Revolution, there's resources in there about the Battle of St. Louis to kind of help students see that the history can be local as well. We've also made lists of primary sources that are appropriate for the course and appropriate for those units. And one thing that I'm excited about, because I'm really hoping to make sure that everything aligns vertically, that students are making connections each grade level, are narratives for teachers to use to help them understand what students have learned before they've got to their class. So, for example, I was a U.S. history teacher, so if I'm teaching the U.S. Constitution, I'm about to start teaching it, I can go into that teacher resource and see how did my 7th grade teachers approach Athenian democracy and how do they teach the Roman Republic, so that they can bring some of that knowledge back to the students and kind of help them activate and remember that they've learned some of these things before and make those connections. Right, and then of course in those are also the recommended resources. So our 8th grade is recommending the adoption of McGraw-Hill, their U.S. History Voices and Perspectives for the Early Years. It is what they found to be probably the best online platform. It follows our standards. It will support our curriculum really well. At our 9, 10, and 11th grade core courses, the teachers have looked at a lot of options. Active Classroom was kind of the winner for those core courses. Teachers that teach multiple preps are happy because they won't have to learn too many different resources. But Active Classroom is actually something that's only been created for social studies. They don't have a math side or an ELA side or a science side. So it is social studies experts helping social studies teachers. They've got like a repository of lessons and inquiries and maps and all of the things that we like to use. In addition, some physical copies of atlases, because map reading skills are really important still, as well as looking at data. Those are really important for our content. And lastly, the document-based question project, or the DBQ project. That is a supplemental resource that helps students analyze sources closely and also write as historians and as social scientists. They're given lists of sources that they have to figure out what they're saying and then make a determination of what their claim is for a big question. And lastly, our AP courses. All of these resources have been approved by the College Board for their respective courses. Lots of different publishers, but that's because they're all different, just a little bit different from each other. All of our AP teachers reviewed these, and these were the ones that they felt were best for our students, along with workbooks, which help students prepare for the assessment at the end of the year with practice questions and that sort of thing. So that is everything that I have for you. I respectfully request on behalf of the teachers who did 99.5% of the work to approve the curriculum and the resources for us. And also if you have any questions. Thank you.
Any questions? All right, if not, I need a motion to approve the 8th through 12th social studies curriculum as presented. Dr. Marion, second, Mr. Christopher. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
for coming.
Next item under new business, Dr. St. Pierre is going to walk us through the computer technician professional agreement. Dr. St. Pierre.
Thank you, Dr. Myers. Good evening, members of the board. You have in your board packet a memo outlining the successful negotiations process with our computer technicians that we wrapped up recently. We had 100% of the voting members on the computer tech side vote to ratify this agreement. This one's pretty simple in that there are not a lot of items, which is not a bad thing. The one item that is the most substantive outside of duration, and the only one outside of duration, is actually kind of a little bit of a restructure. We presently have computer tech level 1 and level 2. What this language would do would be add a third layer there, level 3 technician. Not adding staff, but just adding an additional designation. And these level 3 technicians, there's a description there, would just be to help out with supervision, to assist with the more complex problem solving, and also do some mentoring of our level 1 and level 2 technicians, and fill in wherever we may need some additional help. We'd also put level 2 techs at our high schools, and specifically they would be assigned there because of the volume of the machines that we have there and the increasing complexity that we have. We're working on apprenticeships. We've got students with some real intense computer-related courses in which they're enrolled, and so that level 2 would be at the high school. Our level 2 stipend is unchanged, $2.25 an hour, but for that level 3 technician, and we would recommend 2 of those, they would receive an additional stipend on top of the hourly wage of $4.25 an hour. Again, that's not additional staff, just additional stipends, and allows for some upward mobility within our teams as well. The second item is duration. The sides agreed to 3-year duration of this agreement from July 1, 2025 to June 30th, 2028. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yes. So currently, it sounds like we'll have 4 level 2 technicians left. Do we currently have 6, so we're just promoting 2 of those to level 3? Or will it be like?
We would post for those level 3
Okay.
positions and let folks who are interested apply and go from there.
And they, okay, but I mean, like, the number.
May or may not be automatic, you know, it probably wouldn't necessarily by definition be an automatic promotion, though, we would post those positions.
I guess my question is, how many level 1 technicians do we have, and how many level 2 technicians do we have? That's what my question is.
Yeah, we have 2 level 2 technicians. Those are folks that are currently in that mentor role and providing service to district administrative offices and mentoring more of our new folks as well. And then we have 15 level 1 technicians. So we would place the level 2s in the high schools, and then the level 3s would have a little bit of a morph of what is now level 2.
And we'll need more level 2s in order to cover all the high schools, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yeah. So we would add 2 of those,
And then the 2
and
level
then
2s.
the 2 of those, yeah.
Gotcha, thank you.
Any other questions?
I got a general question. Are you finished with negotiations?
You know what, we are finished,
How many
for the
different groups
24-25 school year.
How many different groups do you end up having in agreement?
Let's see, what do we have, is it 5, 6? Let's see what we come up with.
Nurses,
Teachers.
teachers,
Is it 5?
parent educators. Mental health professionals.
What am I?
I was waiting for you to like put your.
Well, thank you for all your work with that. That's a lot to do, so thank you for that.
All right, I need a motion to approve the computer tech professional agreement as presented. Ms. Byrd, second. Mr. Helms, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Next item, we'll just stay with Henry, extra pay, extra duty task force. Henry?
Yep, thank you again. This one is a little shorter in that our board policy outlines processes for coaches and sponsors to review point allocations for their positions, their stipends, their coaching positions, sponsorship, whatever it may be, and or request the creation of new. That's all outlined in our board policy. We negotiate the point value, how many dollars each point is worth, but when coaches and sponsors would like to request an increase in points or the formation of a new club, that goes to the extra pay, extra duty task force, which is comprised of me, Aaron Williams will sit in this year as well, activities coordinators at the high school, and then some staff members who are appointed by the FZEA. We have received requests, as outlined in the memo, from these coaches and sponsors to get the task force together to review these point allocations, and board policy calls for us to get permission from the board before we would proceed. These are not changes to any of the points. We would bring any of those back to you after we meet, deliberate, the committee makes some recommendations. We'd come back to you all for approval of those recommendations in the next 2 months. Okay, so I'm just asking for your permission to meet as outlined in board policy.
What is Stunt Club?
Stunt Club is a,
like
is
to
a
join.
it's a variation of cheer. Yeah. Different season, yeah, it's a variation of high school cheer. It's kind of an extension of high school
I
cheer.
think that'd be good for your leg.
That's very Same question, stars?
Stars is we have a dance club for some of our high school students with special needs. Okay, yeah, yeah, it is a variation of our high school dance clubs.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, I need a motion to approve the extra pay, extra duty task force permission to meet. Dr. Marion, Mr. Christopher, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
All right, next item, as part of our previously approved bond recommendation for athletics improvements, one of them was the tennis courts at East High School as a project that we would have. So Toby has put together a bid for us tonight. Some of you that were on the board, many of you will remember, we just recently did this at West High School about 2 years ago. So this is a recommendation for the East High tennis courts. And Toby, anything you would want to add to it?
Just that it's really worn to the point where it's almost impossible to have competitive play on it, so it does need to be done. It's currently an asphalt court system. We're going back with post tension, which is a little more upfront, but it lasts twice as long as asphalt. So it'll be, I think, the best thing we could do. It also includes new fencing, adding an extra court, and we're not actually adding space to the footprint. We're just squeezing the other ones closer together, and found that we could put another court in there, which should really help the school. So, any questions? I can tell you what post-tension concrete is if you're interested.
I'd love to hear that.
Okay, well, there's several ways you can reinforce concrete. Fiberglass in the concrete, that's one way. 6x6 mesh is another, that's like a steel mesh. You can put rebar in it. But what this is cable that goes through a lubricated tube, and it keeps the concrete all together. It doesn't allow it to split, check, raise, or cause problems. And it's a little more upfront, but like I said, it's amazing. From an engineering point of view, it's very amazing.
Thank you.
All right, if we don't have any other questions, I need a motion to approve the East High Tennis Court recommendation. Mr. Howell, second. Dr. Marion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Next item, board has had an opportunity, to review a resolution on file for you. Just to give you a little background, the St. Louis Hazard Mitigation Plan is something we are asked to do every 5 years as part of a cooperative in the region. This is put on essentially by organizers who are connected with FEMA, and the purpose behind this is you go through as a district. Sorry. Go through as a district, you identify potential hazard areas, whether it's fire, flood, all the things that you can associate inclement weather. You put together and submit your plans. They take all of that information and submit it into a master plan for the St. Louis region. And the reason they do that is it makes you eligible for FEMA grants and funding in the event of storms like we had Friday. So what I would ask is, I have participated in that process. Their draft plan is updated every 5 years, and would ask for your approval on the resolution to support the St. Louis Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Any questions? All right, I need a motion to approve the resolution for the St. Louis Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Motion.
Mr. Pratt, second. Mr. Helms, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you. Sorry. Last item, we typically, or not always, but typically bring a May budget revision. Brian had some minor tweaks that he identified this year, but wanted to go ahead and include that here so that you all hear the information firsthand, as opposed to just attached to financial. So Brian, with that being said, all yours.
Sure. So as he said, we don't always take this. It was kind of a debate whether or not to take it this time because the adjustments are so small, but I'm also new. I didn't want to break a tradition if there was one. So the total in the fall, we ended up with the fall balance after it was adjusted of about 200,000 is what we were estimating we'd finish with. With the 6 adjustments I'm asking for today, we'll finish with a fund balance of 300,000. Those aren't exact. There could be a bill that could change it either way. It's just based on the information we have at this time. The big positive change is the property taxes, which we discussed, of $1.3 million. There's some minor ones like trash removal and technology repairs that just ended up being more than we originally budgeted. And I should say that technology repair account, it's not just, repairing these books. It's really big things too, like that DESI has us code our Cisco agreements to that account. So there's a lot, there's over $1 million in that account, but it is gonna go over budget a little bit. The big two expense changes are the contracted transportation, which we talked about, of about $500,000, asking for more. That will be across a few areas, like just general contracted transportation, ECSE transportation, and special education transportation. And the other one is the tuition/specialized education. That breaks into two kind of things. If we have to place a student in a private placement, that's very pricey, and that's a big part of the increase. And the other is tuition. You know, if there's like a foster student that was originally in our district and another one, that district can bill us for tuition, and those costs have been rising. And we do the same thing back. We bill the other tuition, so it ends up being kind of a wash altogether, but we have to report an expense as an expense on our books, and since it's raising, we want to increase that category. Any questions?
Does anybody have any questions? All right, I need a motion to approve the 24-25 budget revisions as presented. Mr. Helm, second. Dr. Marion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, now we have comments from the board. I'll start with you, Dr. Marion.
Thank you. First of all, I want to congratulate 12 members of our class of 2025. They were recognized as National Merit Scholars, some of our brightest kids in the country. And I'll do my best with the names, so I apologize in advance. At East High, we had Gabriel Ostrander and Ethan Wilmes. Those are easy. North, Preston Patillo and Brody Van Wave. At South, we have Danielle Dang, Richard Lee, Carter Muling, and Eden Niedergasses. And then at West, we have Sachin Chen, Aiden Hanratty, Tyler Kuhn, and Sumitra Sibasengar, I think. So they did a great job. Also, I want to thank and put a shout out to Laura Wagner, all the HR, all the folks for the great awards night and dinner that we had for the district. So that was really well done. And Erica, you also did a nice job. So we appreciate that. I know a lot of work goes into that, so thank you for that. I think it was a great evening. Thanks to Stephanie and the other social studies folks here tonight, all your work. I know how hard that is and glad you do it. Thank you for that. And I'm sure there was some storm cleanup around the district, so thanks to our maintenance and folks who have never had to deal with that, so.
Mr. Christopher.
We'll give a shout out each year. The Missouri Highway Patrol awards the Fleet Excellence Award to any school bus fleet that scores better than a 90% on the annual safety inspection. This year, the Fort Zumwalt team of mechanics scored a 100% when our 170 plus buses were inspected. And it's the 23rd consecutive year that we've received this award. So that's pretty impressive considering, you know, 170 buses and all the people that go into it, all the damage kids in these roads can cause to the buses. So they're doing a heck of a job. So well-deserved, and appreciate their efforts. And echo some of Jeff's, appreciate the social studies. I was a social studies teacher. I know what goes into that.
My social studies.
I was your teacher.
Oh, wait, you made
So I don't have much to say. Keep up the hard work, finish strong.
Mr. Pratt.
Sure. Yes, social studies team, thank you very much for your efforts there. A couple of announcements. We've got Coach Ann Sanders over at South High School. She just had her 100th career victory. And within these 100 careers, you know, we've got 3 consecutive state titles. So congratulations to her. Moving to the West Side High School dance team has just won back-to-back state dance championships. And aside from that, you know, we're wrapping up the year. We won't be here again until June. And thanks to the admin team for the year, to the teachers, and to our graduates, congratulations.
Ms. Burke.
Thank you, and thank you to the members of our community who submitted almost 4,000 blue notes this year. The notes are of gratitude, recognition, and celebration. They mean so much to the staff. You can take a moment and still submit a blue note anytime using the button and in the banner of any of our websites. And I also want to add thank yous to the many different award ceremonies and concerts and other end-of-year events. I know there's a lot that goes into that, and I've been able to go to a few, and they've been wonderful, so thank you.
Mr. Helms.
All right, again, I just echo what they said, thank you to the social studies, you know, curriculum builder. You all did a great job, so thank you, and keep up the good work. Let's see, so I have Message here, I want to give a big thanks out to, I want to give a thanks to the St. Peter's Police Chief Andy Ramirez, St. Peter's Alderman Judy Bateman, and St. Peter's Alderman Joyce Townsend. Each served as a guest reader at one of our St. Peter's elementary schools to promote literacy in our community and help distribute a copy of the book to each student in the class, courtesy of Walmart Neighborhood Market, St. Peter's. Walmart also provided copies to the classroom and to the school library. We appreciate our community partners and their support of our mission to educate, empower, and equip our students to excel. And another South High. We have some spring sports celebrations, South High being one of them again, which they tend to be here quite often. Doing pretty good over there. South High varsity boys tennis team won the district title, defeat St. Dominic 5-3, and advance into the state quarterfinals where they failed MICDS, unfortunately. West High's tennis team also had some celebrations with Tristan Vaughn and Tanner Reese. They both won their Class 3 District 3 doubles title. Arian, I'm gonna butcher this, Arian S. Won the individual Class 3 Title 3 title. And congratulations to all of the above. They definitely represent our district well, and we're definitely proud of them. And congratulations to all of the 2025 graduates. We'll be seeing you all Saturday.
I just have a couple questions. Dr. St. Pierre, how long have you worked in our district?
This is year 29.
Okay. And when you were a teacher, were you also a coach?
Yes.
So you spent most of your evenings in our district with our students. And your typical work day here, what time do you get here?
6:30 at the latest.
And when you leave?
Depends. Usually 5 at the earliest.
And you're also attending lots of our events within our district, with our students, with our parents, with our faculty. Okay, so one could measure that most of your time is actually spent within our district versus out of it.
My wife
And
would
has
agree
been
with
for
that, yes.
quite some time. Okay, just wanted to check on that one, because that's what I figured too, and we much appreciate that. Also, with the graduations happening this weekend, congrats to everybody who got them there, to the kiddos, to the parents, and please, please, please be safe and have a wonderful weekend and a great end of the school year. With that, we're going to go into our closed session. We will not be back into open session. I need a motion to go into closed session in accordance to RMSO 610.021 to discuss the approval of the minutes from April 17th, 2025 closed session meeting, hiring, firing, promotion of personnel. Motion, please. Mr. Christopher, second, Mr. Helms. Roll call, please, Ms. Marks.